Some of the Republicans charged in the Trump fake elector scheme in Arizona can't even afford lawyers. And this is not about shaming people who don't have enough money for a lawyer. This is about realizing that, you know, that phrase, whatever they touch turns to gold. Whoever touches Trump turns to stone, is the way that I would say it. KPNX reports that some of the Republicans charged in this insane, illegal Arizona fake elector scheme aren't able to afford lawyers. And they have court appearances coming up. And this is a real moment where you have to see how being sucked in by Trump, either as a voter or as an accomplice to crime, is very risky for your own well-being, especially when Trump will turn around once it's no longer once you are no longer useful to Trump. Trump turns around and disappears into the ether. Here is a Twitter post from Bram Resnick, who covers politics at KPNX in Phoenix. And he wrote, quote, former Arizona Republican Executive Director Greg Safston tells the judge he can't afford a lawyer, is declared indigent, and gets a public defender. Emails show Safston was in contact with the fake elector's architect, Ken Cheesebro. This is not about laughing at people with no money. They deserve a defense. They will get public defenders. They are entitled to due process. See how we support law and order and due process on this show? Even despicable clowns who tried to steal an election deserve a lawyer because that's the system we have. But this is about the reality that Trump cares only about himself. It's all about him, other people be damned. And there are normal, everyday people who just can't afford a lawyer, who are hurt all the time by Donald Trump. The people who donated to Trump to get him elected. And in the fine print, it says, oh, your money, but donate to me to overturn these fraudulent results. And in the fine print, it says, actually, I may use this money to pay off campaign debt at 50 cents on the dollar. And then they donate, and now they have trouble making their car payment, or they fall behind on their credit cards, or they need to opt for the inferior groceries because they donated to Trump, and then Trump took the money and paid off his campaign debt. The people who got sucked into the criminal scheme to make Trump the president, even though he lost, and now are indicted and can't afford lawyers. Now, there's one other note to this, which is public defenders don't sound very small government of them, which they claim to care about, right? Oh, now we're using taxpayer money to pay for lawyers for people. That doesn't sound right. That's not small government. I believe that everyone is entitled to a defense, but their own small government principles are to some degree violated by the very public defenders that will now represent them because they don't have money. So what's the takeaway here? Takeaway is that the prism through which all of Trump's actions must be analyzed at this point, and it's been the case for 8 years at this point, 9 years, is what's good for Trump. Trump, in the sense that most people have friends, doesn't really have friends by all accounts. He has people he's on good terms with to the extent that they are useful to him or entertaining to have around, for lack of a better term. And once they're no longer useful, once they say, hey, I agree with 9 things Trump said, but this one thing's not so good, all of a sudden he turns on them. And much the same way, these cult members get sucked in, either to voting, donating, or participating in a fake elector scheme. And now the rubber has hit the road and they don't even have the money for lawyers. So do I feel bad for them? I mean, listen, these are adults, right? They made decisions about whether they wanted to participate in this or not. And they are going to have to be held accountable. So it certainly doesn't excuse what they did. These are, unless they want to argue in a legal sense, they are not fit to stand trial and quite literally could not even understand what they were doing, which there's no evidence that applies to any of these people. They are responsible for their actions. It's the broader bamboozling of the American people that is at issue here. And it happened at every layer. It happened with the people that participated in the elector scheme. It happened with the people who donated, and it happened with the people who voted because, hey, you know what? Trump seems to understand trade, and I need him to fix that. Turns out Trump didn't understand trade, and he didn't fix it, and people are worse off than they were when Trump's term ends. So they all got bamboozled. The ones who donated, they're out of the money. The ones who counted on Trump fixing trade, it didn't happen. The ones who counted on Trump replacing Obamacare with a big, beautiful health care plan, it didn't happen. And the ones who signed their name to be fake electors, now they're indicted Now they're going to have public defenders, and bless the public defenders. I don't know that I'm saying something controversial when I say the overloaded average public defender is probably not as able to deliver the strongest defense as a high-priced private attorney, not because they're bad people or because they didn't go to law school, but they are overloaded and handling such dramatically disparate cases every day that anybody would struggle to put on the best possible defense. So now they are going to suffer. It's where we are. Don't fall into the cult. That's the takeaway. Monday's Memorial Day. We'll be off, but we will be doing a one-day membership drive with a drastically reduced membership discount. If you've been thinking of becoming a member, if you like what we're doing, if you recognize the importance of supporting alternatives to corporate media, particularly as we head into what I believe is the most important election in a very, very long time, consider becoming a member. And you can do it on Monday at a discount by getting on my newsletter at davidpakman.com. And Monday, you'll get a perfect email telling you how to avail yourself of this great membership discount. It is time to start thinking like voters and to make sure that kids understand the importance of voting, how it works, registering, ballot initiatives, because so many kids just have no idea. That's why I wrote the new children's book, Think Like a Voter. I can think of no better time and no more important group of folks to try to reach. The book is now available at davidpakman.com/book, where, by the way, you can get the first 2 books in the series as well. Think Like a Detective and Think Like a Scientist. Really important stuff. Donate them to local libraries, classrooms, read them with the kids. davidpakman.com/book.